Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake, and what we're going to make are donuts. This particular recipe is what I call Polish donuts. This recipe came from my grandmother. I had a Polish grandmother and an Italian grandmother, so I share a lot of their recipes on my channel. And donuts, I have a lot of them. I have from high gluten donuts to bread flour donuts to no yeast donuts to whole wheat donuts. So please check them out, and I think they're all good. But this particular recipe, I really enjoy making it because I think of my grandmother. These donuts can be made and filled with custard or your favorite jam, that type of thing, your favorite flavoring, or you can just actually eat them, unfilled and then rolled in powder sugar or granulated sugar or glazed, which I like to make mine. I did make my dough in the dough cycle on my bread maker, so it's up to you if you want to make your dough by hand with your stand up and hook. But I find it easier for me, and that's why I use my bread machine. So I'm going to start off by giving you the recipe, and all the directions and the ingredients to the recipe will be below the video also. You're going to need 2 cups of milk, and I usually do mine about 110 degrees. You're going to need 7 cups of all-purpose flour, 4 egg yolks, plus 1 whole egg. So 4 yolks and 1 whole egg. Now I also beat them, slightly beat them also. A half a cup of granulated sugar, a half a cup of butter, which I melt in the microwave in a bowl and I let it cool, and 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon, yes I did say 1 tablespoon of vanilla. So that's the ingredients. Now, when it comes out of the bread maker, and I'm going to just get this bread maker out of the way for the moment, so I'll have more room. I'm actually going to fry the donuts in my wok, which I like because it's temperature controlled, and I fry them at 375. Now, when the dough comes out, this is what it's going to look like. Now, this is half. So it's going to be much larger than this, of course. This is just 1 piece of it. It makes a beautiful yellow colored dough. It is about medium in density. We're going to put some flour here on my countertop. I don't want to work with the dough too much because I don't want the donuts to be tough and dense. And then you want to roll your dough to about 1/2 inch out. So I'm going to do that. Now, in the amounts of the donuts, it's going to be up to you how you cut them, what type of cutter, how big they're going to be, that kind of thing. I get 2 dozens out of this recipe. I can also even get a little bit more than that. It really depends, as I said, the way that, how large I make them. I'm just going to use just a regular round cutter for this. If you don't have a cutter, you could use a large rim of a glass, or even a clean washed out tuna can works really good. And I'm just going to cut a few out here. Now what I like to do is I like to place them on a greased pan. Sorry about that. And then I place them on a greased pan. Let me cut that one again. And keep them apart from one another because they are going to spread. Okay, and you're going to wait till they double in size, of course. So put a clean kitchen towel over them. It might take a half hour or up to an hour. It really depends on the temperature in your oven, but you do need to cover them, and they need to double in size. Now, once I cut all the donuts, some people don't like to work with the scraps, but I do. So I get additional, donuts out of that once I cut them all. So that's going to be up to you. I'm just going to place this on the side for a moment here. And I want to show you what the donuts will look like once they are double in size. And this is how they will look. Okay? I hope you can see that. All right. And all I did was put a clean kitchen towel over them, and I set it aside in my kitchen, and it took me almost an hour. So let me get rid of these couple things out of the way. Okay, and we're going to fry the donuts. So I'm just going to move my dough out of the way here for the moment. In fact, I'll recover it up. And just bring my wok over here. And I've had it at 375, so it's at a good temperature for frying donuts. And then I'm just going to have a quick tray here with some paper and toweling to absorb the grease. And then I don't like to overcrowd my donuts. I usually only cook about 4 at a time. And just, lay them in your pan. And like I said, the reason I like to use my wok is because I like knowing that it's kept at 375. And it usually takes about 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes on each side. It's going to really depend on your grease, your oil, or your shortening, or whatever you're frying in, and the size of your donuts too. So, but like I said, mine usually take about 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes on each side. And then I just like to keep them moving a little bit. I think it kind of, it kind of keeps that grease, at the right temperature. So I tend to I don't flip them over. I usually flip them over and I watch my clock or put a timer on, and I usually don't flip them for at least 2 minutes. That type of thing, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let these fry. I just checked them. They're doing very nicely. I'm going to rinse my hands real quick here, because I want to show you, while we're waiting for these to fry up, what they look like once they do come out. And this is how they will come out. And I put them on paper towel to absorb any of the grease, and you can see they come up just beautiful. They're so nice and tall, these donuts, and they're so big. I really like these, and they're such a nice golden brown. I don't know if you can see that or not. And I'm just going to flip them over. And then I'm just going to set those aside for the moment. And lots of switching around here. And then while we're waiting, we're going to fill these donuts. Okay. All right. And what I like to do is just have my favorite jam, or in a bag, and then I just take this and make a hole inside the donut. Okay. And then you want to put in at least a couple of tablespoons, at least in the size, that I have. Okay. All right. This got a little messy on me here. Okay. So like I said, just drill a little hole in your in your donut. And then I like to just give a couple little squirts for each donut. Okay, like that. All right, I want to just check these, and they're still coming along nicely. All right, and let's put that aside. And then I make up just a glaze for them out of powdered sugar and milk. You can use powdered sugar and water to whatever consistency you like, whether you want the glaze to be real thin or very thick. It's going to be up to you. And then I actually just take the donut and I just kind of dump it in the bowl like that. You can ice just the tops if you want, or you can ice the whole thing. It's really up to you. And then place that donut on a, on a cooling rack just to get the sugar hardened, okay? But I'm just going to put this on the side for the moment, okay? And let's see how these donuts are doing. Here's one, in fact, because I wanted you to see them as they come out. There we go. And they just come out so beautiful, and the rise is so nice on that. I'm going to put it in just for a few more seconds there for the edges a little bit, and just give them a little spin here. Okay, now I'd like to show you a finished product of the donuts. Just want to rinse my hands there. And here they are. They've been glazed, they've been filled and glazed, and they just come out so pretty. I want to cut one for you. I had a knife here. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to leave those for a few more seconds. Okay, so let's cut into one here. And there you have it. You can see that beautiful filling on the inside. There are a very moist and a tender donut on the inside. You would think that they'd be really heavy and dense because of all the eggs, but it does have a rich tasting texture to it. When you bite into these, they will melt in your mouth. They really are just the greatest tasting little donuts. I think the biggest amount of time is just waiting for them to rise. Otherwise, you can fry them up really quickly, and these donuts taste fantastic. If you don't even want to fill them, as I said, you just want to glaze them. You can also melt chocolate with some solid shortening in a bowl in a microwave, and I dip a lot of times the tops in chocolate. So you can fill them, you can eat them plain. This is a great recipe. I hope you try this one, and if you like this recipe, well, leave a comment, because I always like to hear from you. And as always, I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon.